What's up, everybody? How we doing? Welcome for another Coffee Conversations. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Tales of the job hunt, the good and the bad. That's right. So we want to kind of go over a little bit about our stories, from a few stories from 17 years of recruiting in this industry. Nadia and I, we've experienced a lot. You know, it's amazing sometimes.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes. You know, sometimes we consider ourselves like psychologists. We get to hear it all from both from our clients and our candidates, and we get to, you know, maybe we are going to share some funny stories and some experiences that our clients and candidates have kind of told us over the years. So let's get into it. So we really appreciate you here, and thanks so much for following what we're doing. So let's talk about networking, right? So it's always important to get yourself out there, right? You want to make sure that you're widening your network through things like LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So we want to share some good, something good that happened. Nadia, tell them what's something good.
Okay, I'm going to pull one that it was recent, and through the last few months we've seen an increase in video, and I recently got a candidate who applied to one of our jobs, and she sent a phenomenal video email. And what that is, for any of you that don't know, is it's just a really quick 30-second intro. It's embedded in the email they send you, and what she did was she just said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I saw your job. I'm really interested. Here's a couple points about myself. I hope you guys reach back out." And I'll tell you, out of the many applicants I got, she was extremely memorable. So I give her a major thumbs up. Good job. Yeah. So that was professional, simple, and very well done.
Yeah, I think remember one of them we use is a company called Cloud HQ, which we like. It's free. It integrates with Gmail, so something to think about.
So if you're on the job hunt.
Yeah, so let's talk about bad ones. Over the years, you know, you got your resume out there, you're putting your email out there. We have seen so many people that have their old college or old emails.
Hotmail.
Oh my God, the emails like, you know, we had one dirty girl, the other one was hoop something. I mean,
and then we had party girl. A lot of them that are just from college, not appropriate on a job hunt.
Change your email, folks. It is such a bad thing when all of a sudden the email comes from somebody. The first thing they do is look at the email, right? And maybe your name's associated with not, but either way, it is no good. So I give that a major wah-wah.
All right. And, you know, unfortunately, the funny ones tend to be the bad ones, so I am going to jump in with one more bad one. We get, as you can imagine, a lot of applicants, and we call this the TMI, where people send their resume with a complete life story. Everything they've been through, the divorce, their custody situation, why they're looking, the last job, why it didn't work out. And listen, we all have stuff on our road of life. When you are on your job hunt, less is more. Keep it professional, keep it succinct, and edited goes along way better.
Yeah, so TMI is a big thumbs down. Don't do it.
Don't do the TMI.
Yeah.
However, there are some cases where you could add a little. So one example, if we're going along the email intro or cover letter, is people who take the time to do some research and actually include a connection, a thought, a call out to a project, something that sets them apart and actually outlines that they know what they're applying for, versus people who have the same generic intro. So you do get a thumbs up if you do just a teeny TMI, not really TMI, it's more like just enough information.
It's JMI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or JEI.
Yeah, we haven't had enough coffee for acronyms.
JEI, just enough information.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about what's the next one.
Okay, we got to talk about the interview because we got some juicy interview stories.
Oh my God.
We've seen, you can imagine. Let's start with a good though.
All right, good one. So we had this really great client that a candidate went on an interview, and the candidate really took the time to do that research. Like Nadia just said, what's the connection? What is the information? Really took that to heart. And they researched that this person was an avid hunter. And through that process, they found out that they really liked exotic game meats. And so they went to a special sausage maker in Colorado and went and actually got these amazing sausages made for the client. And the client loved it so much. Now, it was a great candidate. She's fantastic. But that little extra, taking the time. Now, we're not suggesting everybody bring sausages to a meeting, so just FYI on that. I don't know what's the.
Yeah, let's
No,
not do an
no,
acronym.
no.
It's not the time for that.
All right, but either way, she got the job.
Yeah.
But she just the whole point is that she went a little bit further, so a major thumbs up for spending the time to do a little extra special gift. Now, and that's a candidate giving a client that to stand out in a positive way.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so one I remembered, and it's been fun because they come back in the Rolodex. One I remembered was this candidate went to an in-person interview and for whatever reason had their dog in their car, and when they got to the interview realized it was too hot to leave their dog in the car, so then came into the interview with the dog. Now I preface, this was not a therapy dog, this was a pet. This was just a pet, and the pet came to the interview, and it was a really hard one to try and back paddle out of that with a client. Just a bad call. So I got to give that a love doggies. That's a double. That's just not
no
thinking.
Doggies. We have a dog,
planning.
but don't bring him on an interview.
No planning ahead.
So all right, well this is where where you want to prepare for an interview, right? And we tell our candidates to really dress the part when they go to the interview. Dress, if you're going for an architectural position for a great firm, dress the part. What does an architect dress like? Working in a showroom environment, dress the part. Well, this person took this a little bit too far. So this was, what all the stuff that's going on cruising and stuff that we had a great client that was a cruise company.
And this was a while ago. This was
a
going
while.
way back.
Yeah, this was a while. This is literally like our second year. And the candidate took this a little too far, so they thought, cruise company, this is great. You know what? I'm going to dress like going on a cruise. So they literally showed up at the interview in flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt. And this was for a major design manager.
This was not the greeter when you come on the boat. This was like corporate.
Yeah, this was a corporate design position. So yeah, they did not get the job. So unfortunately, that was a major thumbs down on that one.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, double one.
No bueno.
So no Hawaiian shirts, no flip flops. So yeah, man, I'm not getting rid of my Hawaiian shirts. No. I'm keeping mine. It wasn't me. Yeah. But I'm keeping Hawaiian shirts. So all
right. Okay, this was a recent one. This one happened just beginning of this year. Actually, we had a candidate that was set for an interview, and we always send out really detailed appointments, as even if you're doing an interview with a client, not with a recruiter, you should get it detailed or make sure you get all the information. This candidate, it was a phone interview and very clearly said it was a phone interview, even indicated who's phoning who, and they just showed up. So all of a sudden, and actually they couldn't find the office, so they were able, thank goodness, we got the call. They're wondering what office building it was, and we were extremely confused, and then realized they hadn't read and hadn't prepared. So that was
no bueno.
No, that was a bad one.
No,
so needless to say, actually they moved. They ended up having a great phone interview in their car because we were able to get in there for the save. Yeah. But anyways, you got a plan. So.
Yeah. The next somebody,
let's talk about the follow-up.
Yeah, you networked, you interviewed, and now you got to follow up to an interview, right? Or following up to some connection with a potential employer. So let's talk about, obviously there's good and bad ways to do this. So let's talk about a bad one, which really to this day boggles us.
Yes, so we've actually had more of these than we can actually imagine, but normally they come to us and not the client. And what we're talking about is the super late night email, sometimes after a cocktail or two. This is when a candidate has not gotten feedback, is wondering where they stand in the job process. So luckily we can usually quarterback this and we get the late night email. But we have seen scenarios and had clients reach out to us say at 1 in the morning, we got an email from this particular candidate who wrote, it was paragraphs of how frustrated they were, why they weren't getting a second meeting, they haven't had feedback. So very similar to dating, I would say. Sometimes it's best to just think on it before you write it, if you ever have that. So in the interview, definitely late night email is a no.
That was a LTMI, late night, too much information. I'm going to keep going with them. I'm going to keep going. By the end of this, they'll be like 12 letters long.
Okay.
Anyway, so don't do that. So. But a good one. Let's talk about a good one. So we had this really, really interesting client that, to a follow-up of an interview, they sent these really great questions. I mean, they were really
These were cool. These were like Google-esque kind of think outside the box. We were really impressed with this
neat.
client.
I mean, they were like 4 or 5 questions.
Give them one example. That one.
So the one question they said, would they want to be in a fight with a horse-sized duck or a duck-sized horse?
Think about that one.
And yeah, right. And so, but
Yeah.
so there was that question like that. Then
Yeah.
they was sent a painting that they had to like give their interpretation on.
It was
and,
really cool.
and the person the candidate took this really well. And so then not only did they answer these questions, I think very, very well, but they did a whole presentation on it. So they really took it to a whole nother level. So from a client perspective, it really weeded out people that were really want to be really invested in this process. But on the candidate side, you have to go the extra mile.
Right.
Because we saw candidates that got that questionnaire and they were like...
They wrote like 3 lines and shot it back in an email.
Yeah.
But what this is a really good example of is your entire interview process is the process. So every step of the way, it's not just the interview, it's the follow-up. And this is an example. The client purposely did these questions very obscure to see how they would handle it.
Yeah.
So those that rose to the occasion stood out, and those that just did generic or just did it really quickly. So this was an example, like you said, we were blown away with her presentation, but she she was really funny. So they're cheeky questions.
Right.
Do you remember she had a huge blow-up rubber duck in part of her thing? So it was, and I just remember she was very clever
really,
and funny.
really
So
good job.
that was, and think that was probably 8 years ago, and
Yeah.
we still remember.
Yeah, and they still
so.
use those questions.
Yeah.
So it was really good. So yeah, so we really like it. So let's talk about another one that's funny. This is a little different topic.
I thought when I was thinking about it, even though we do a lot of webinars coaching, we do a lot of candidate coaching about what to do, what not to do, and I have to admit, I myself had one of these recently, and I'm going to share it with you. So during this whole time, we obviously, like everyone else, has been doing a ton of video calls with our client. So I'm set up, and thank goodness it's a client we already had, and this was just a connect. Set up on our Zoom call, and I get on, and I'm super busy, so I normally log on a little earlier and get myself situated, but I didn't have time, so I just kind of jumped on right on time. And everyone pops on the video, and there I am with, it looks like I can only describe as a blue amoeba taking over my entire face. And even the client, she did like, she was seriously so frightened of me. And so on the fly, then I look down at my Zoom and I see my son's name on it. And I thought, thank goodness I had seen him yesterday. He bored my computer and he'd had a guitar lesson via Zoom, and he likes to do those crazy backgrounds. So he had set up a background with a dinosaur attacking him for his guitar lesson. And so luckily I did one of these though. I've got something to show you. I did one of these. I did a save because guess what? In the moment, rather than freaking out, I told my client the story. She thought it was hysterical because she was quarantined with her kids. I logged out, logged back into my Zoom, and appeared normally, and we had a great laugh about it and moved on. But it was really funny. And
But what's
but
funny
I had
about
to save. I had to save.
Yeah, but you had to save. But I'll tell you, that's still like on those backgrounds. Don't do
the backgrounds.
Don't do the background.
Just don't do the background.
Just keep it
not
simple.
for a meeting. Yeah,
That's
or
crazy.
else it could happen like I did. It was shocking.
It's crazy.
So.
And then I'll share this one. But so like unfortunately we have candidates that get opportunities, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, right? For whatever reason. And we had a candidate that unfortunately didn't make it, so they were unfortunately terminated.
But she didn't die. She made it. She just didn't make it in the job.
She was terminated. I just said she was terminated.
She didn't make it. So
She didn't make it. She was terminated. She was fired. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
She's alive,
fired.
but
she was fired.
Okay, gosh, geez, going dark. Anyway, so unfortunately she was fired.
Yeah.
And so what the interesting part about that is it was terrible that she was fired. But not too much longer later, the mom of this person called the employer and was like, "Why did you fire my daughter? Like, what's going on here?" And so that was really awkward because then the client called us and going, "Why did I just get a call from the mom about so-and-so being terminated?"
That was embarrassing for her, though, way more.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure,
she hadn't left the nest yet.
But yeah, that's anyway. But that's
so that was a funny one.
Yeah. So, but all these stories are just small little glimmers. I mean, listen, we could write a book about all the things that we experienced, and you never know, that could come up someday. But I think it's interesting to know that there's a right way and a wrong way, obviously, in all these things, and there are ways you can save and kind of rebound from this. We're in an interesting time, and these are interesting opportunities that we have. But really putting yourself out there in the right way can go a long way, as we talked about. Going too far is not good, right? And then really making sure that you're making the right connections, that you're thinking about your responses, taking the time and how you're presenting and preparing yourself is really important, because listen, you don't want to go on the bad side of this, because it's...
And also being able to, in the moment, be able to do a save. And we were, this is a good segue into, we've been thinking about future topics and we've been getting some responses. So if there's topics you guys want to hear about, one we were toying around with was how to handle difficult questions in an interview, when you're put on the spot, panel interviews, all types of things, because sometimes you got to think on your feet and you got to know how to come in for the save.
Yep.
So that's one option, but we'd love to hear from you if there's any ideas. We're going to do these, I don't know, what time, are we doing them monthly now?
No, I think next one will be in a week or so.
Oh, in a week or so, okay.
Probably after July 4th, but direct message us any thoughts you have, ideas. We'd love to get your feedback. Listen, we really care, and this is how this one came up. People asked us these stories, and we wanted to share them with you. So definitely respond by direct message to let us know your thoughts, give us feedback. We really appreciate you guys being part of this.
And keep following us on social channels, because we're also starting a summer webinar series that may be, it's applicable to both employers and candidates on the job hunt. So our summer webinar series kicks off.
Right.
So we have a ton of info. We're always updating our LinkedIn, our Insta, our website directly, our resource page. So check out our channel. We're really trying to put out a lot of information, people both on a job hunt and also employers looking to bring on the best people. So,
so check out our website, resource page.
This was my first Instagram live, by the way.
Yes, this is her first. She said.
That was fun. Yeah.
So reach out to us, email us. It's Nadia at Interior Talent, Kenneth at Interior Talent. Direct message us your thoughts about the next topic, and we really appreciate you guys being part of it. So
enjoy your lunch.
So let's hopefully we have a lot more of these.
Yeah, or some saves.
That's right.
Saves are good. Think on your
feet. So next time, thanks so much, folks. We appreciate it.